welcome you all to the fourth day of this online lecture series. And today, as the resource person, we have someone really special. Someone I remember last year when June we started this online lecture series. She was one of those few people who regularly attended this lecture series and was very active as well in asking doubts and answering in between the lectures. And you can see her dedication and hard work went on for her clearing the net of 2023 and also the MPSET exam of 2023. With this, I welcome Mansi Panwar ma'am to please start the lecture.
Hi, thank you, Arjun. Thank you very, very much. Fine. I'll not waste any more time, but I'll directly start with this. So, I am presenting the post-colonial literary movements. At any point, if I move too fast or if you people have any doubts, please let me know. Okay. So, beginning with the most basic of things, and let's keep it like a little interactive so that you also don't get bored with what I'm talking with you. Okay, I'll put again the screen, no problem. Okay, so any of you who's I say vaguely aware of the term post-colonial, I think most of you would be. Am I right? You guys can keep answering, right? Because otherwise it will get a little monotonous. You can keep answering. Okay, right. So just a very brief introduction, as you are anyway aware of the post-colonial term and everything. So this post-colonial term as such refers to the period which is post the colonial era, which is post whenever the British rule or the empire's rule has ended in any of the countries, right? So this post-colonialism is basically that talks about the experiences of people or the kind of culture change that happened, the kind of socio-political, economic, or any kind of changes that happened after the British Empire left the so-and-so country, right? So when we talk about the post-colonial literature per se, so now you know that literature actually reflects the kind of society that we are in. So the post-colonial literature also reflected whatever the experiences of people were there when the empire ruled and post when the British Empire left, right? So the themes we could see was a major theme was of the kind of struggle that happened, the independent struggle of any nation, be it India, be it the African countries that were once colonies. So the struggle of the independence, then again, whatever personal and national identity that they formed during this process was also one of the major themes. There was also this cultural change and transition that happened because we had our own language, we had our own culture, we had our own society. But then when the British Empire came in, they brought in their own culture, brought in their own things, right? So that kind of transition also is one of the themes that we see in post-colonial literature. Then we also know that whatever was the impact of colonial legacy, for example, English as a language is considered as the colonial legacy that we keep continuing, right? So this kind of impact or what this language had an impact on our culture, so and so forth, were the major themes of the post-colonial literature. And this is central to the post-colonial literature of any country. Like it is central to India, it is central to Africa, Caribbean nations, Latin America, everywhere. So this particular theme is central to every other colonized country so far, right? So now you can guess ki agar, for example, I always take the example of Indian because we have more understanding of it. So what do you think could be the reason why post-colonialism emerged as a canon? What could be the possible reasons? Why did we even need post-colonial literature in the first place? Anybody can answer.
One of the reasons could be like the Britishers ruled here for more than like 100, 200 years, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of impact economically and on our education system or every aspect. Mm-hmm. So obviously it will definitely influence the literature as well.
Yeah, fair. Right. And also one more thing to see here, that once we or any country started with their own freedom struggle, they were searching for an identity. This quest for identity is this term we read in literature more and often, right? So this quest for identity was something very central to the post-colonial literature of any country. So this is also one of the reasons. Moving ahead, the post-colonial, so from a UGC net points of view, the thing is that we need a little theory or a concept in our mind, but we also need to study on pinpoint. So because the pattern keeps on changing, these are two works which are more and often asked in UGC net nowadays. This one I think is very, very popular, which is Bill Ashcroft's. This is the work which is known as The Empire Writes Back, and this talks about the post-colonial literature and how what the concept of post-colonial literature are and the impact that is left, the so-called term of colonial legacy that we talk about. So this works talk about that. This also defines post-colonial as a concept as such, that this is the culture that is affected by imperial processes. Another work is of Leela Gandhi. I think it was asked 2 years back or something. This is Post-Colonial Theory, a Critical Introduction. This is also one of the two works when, if they ask about post-colonial as a term or as a discipline, how it emerged. So these two works are really important from a next point of view, especially The Empire Writes Back. If not, the work is asked, you might see this particular work in one of the options of the post-colonial works as they ask. Then, for the next 50 minutes or so, I'll cover these important literary movements. So there are a number of literary movements, but again, since we are moving from a very focused preparation strategy, so these are the ones that has been very, very frequently asked in the net. So first I'll begin with is the Commonwealth literature. Okay, so you all know that Commonwealth basically, okay, there's this British Empire that they ruled and captured several colonies as they were known then, and now they're countries, of course. So these were 54 colonies that were under the rule of British Empire, and Commonwealth literature is the literary product of these 54 nations or these 54 colonies. So these 54 colonies included Africa, Asia, the entire subcontinent of Asia, the Caribbean, North America, Latin America, all of those. So the Commonwealth literature is what emerged from these countries. Now, again, now that we know that all of these countries were once a part of the British Empire, now they have separated themselves from the British Empire with the struggle of independence. So now the common themes that we notice in these works could be, one is the independence, the struggle that they faced, whatever the cultural conflicts are there, the complexities that people had in terms of the struggle of the independence and how to discover themselves, rediscover themselves is the better term, once the empire has left. For example, in India, we had a culture of our own, but when the British came, they kind of improvised the society in a way that they brought in some Western concepts of education, of society, of dressing, of talking and eating. And then once the British left, we were in two worlds as to whether we are to stick for what we have been to 200 years of their colonial rule, or now we go back to the Indian ways of life. So these kind of complexities are also very well traced in Commonwealth literature. Some of the important works, I'm sure V.S. Naipaul is a very important writer and is a house for Mr. Biswas, the 1961. It is a very important work that traces the entire struggle. Okay, so when it comes to works, you must know in UGC now is that they keep asking the year. Okay, so whenever you're reading any work by any writer whatsoever, please remember the year as well. And for important writers like V.S. Naipaul, we have J.M. Coetzee, we have Chinua Achebe. इनके तो सारे works का chronology भी याद रखना would be helpful for you because they keep match the following में दे देते हैं जैसे कई बार या फिर chronology wise दे देते हैं as per the writer's works and all. So that. And in case there's a trilogy of any work, say Amitav Ghosh की trilogy है, so उन works का भी year याद रखना is very important as you read the work. Now, when you read any particular work, it is not necessary that you remember the entire thing because some of these works are really bulky. But 2-3 things that you should remember is A, the theme, the central theme, क्योंकि उससे तुम्हें idea हो जाएगा कि ये किस area को belong कर रहा है, what could be the possible conflicts or what could be the possible storyline. Again, the year of it is very, very important because they have stressed on asking the years for the past 4 5 years now, and also the chronology of works for important writers, the characters of these, because sometimes they also ask statements wise questions आजकल आने लग गए हैं. तो जैसे he or she is the character of this particular work. This work was written in 1947, and choose whatever is the right statement types. So for that you need to know the major characters at least. Then there is Kerry Hunt's The Bone People, again a very important work of 1984. Then there's Disgrace of J.M. Coetzee. J.M. Coetzee के सारे works almost important है. They are repeatedly asked in net now, so might as well take a general look on the basic storylines और उनका year को लेकर. Just make sure that you have important writers का वो सब. Again, you can also look for there's, we all know Salman Rushdie as a very famous writer. उनका Midnight Children is more and often asked now. Moore's Last Sigh भी काफी पूछने लगे हैं वो. V.S. Naipaul, again I've said. Chinua Achebe is another important writer. So Commonwealth literature में these are this is like a list of important writers and works that you should not miss absolutely, especially V.S. Naipaul. If you're noting it down, I'll once again repeat: V.S. Naipaul, J.M. Coetzee, Chinua Achebe, Alice Munro, and then Derek Walcott is very important. These are a few writers that you should take note of when you're preparing from Commonwealth literature. All right. One second. Okay, I'll take a quick go. Is there any doubt up till now, or should I move ahead with it?
You can move ahead, I guess.
All right. Okay. Now, post-Commonwealth African literature is now one of the most favorites of UGC NET. Over the past I think 3-4 net, they have been asking African literature more often. So, and one thing that differentiates African literature from the rest of the post-colonial literature is कि वहाँ पे oral and written literature दोनों बहुत important है, and both of them are equally rich, right? So when we talk about post-colonial African literature, we are talking about the experiences of the African people, whatever was the impact of the colonial education then. Also with African literature, you should understand that this is the literature of population of color. Okay, so British was a white empire, and these are the people of color. So there's always a clash of color on the basis of color and race and everything, and that feeling of superiority and the subordinate, that relationship and clash was also there. So those are also the central themes of African literature. Chinua Achebe, Things Fall Apart, it is almost asked in I think every net. Please read this work. Do not miss Things Fall Apart. I think this was in our BA ka syllabus also, because I remember reading it in college only. A very, very important work of Chinua Achebe. This is often asked. The year, the themes, the major characters of Things Fall Apart, and it's a very beautiful story to read. Then we have Tayyab Salih. I think 2-3 years back only I saw this particular work, Season of Migration or To the North. This is a very less asked, but nowadays it has been asked quite frequently. In the past, I think post-COVID, Nadine Gordimer, again, I'm sure you're very aware of the writer. Very important work. July's People is very important, of 1981. There's another work called Burger's Daughter. It is also a work, if I'm not wrong, it also talks about the struggle of independence and how the main protagonist goes on to discover her personal identity amidst the national chaos that happens. So these two important works, July's People, Burger's Daughter is very important. Also African literature में बात करते हैं तो Frantz Fanon, super important writer. Wretched of the Earth, Black and White, Masks, if I'm not wrong, is the work. वो बहुत important है. There's Thiong's A Grain of Wheat is very important work. That the list I've given at the end of the PPT, do not worry for that, but this is also very important. Again, जो Commonwealth में मैंने J.M. Coetzee की बात की थी, उनका एक Waiting for the Barbarians is also a very important work. वो भी ये लोग मतलब frequently पूछने लगे हैं. For African, I would suggest you कि when you're reading the entire post-colonial literature, African पे you can invest a little more time, and then Indian literature पे, because they have been asking this very often. Then there's also one, I am not sure if I'm pronouncing the name right, but there's this Tetsi Dagremba. She's a Zimbabwe writer, an African writer. उनका nervous conditions की एक trilogy है. तो ये trilogy की year को you please remember, like we do for Amitav Ghosh का Sea of Poppies and all, because the trilogy का year is asked often in the net, right? So this is the African literature. Again, the themes of most of the post-colonial literatures would be somewhere overlapping. However, when you read individual works, or at least the summaries of it, you will realize that the central theme is very much rooted in their own culture. You will be able to distinguish between the culture of an African literature and that of an Indian or a Pakistani literature. So that is there. However, the umbrella theme of cultural clash, of the independence, एक quest for identity वाला वो common है और वो underlying है सारे literatures में. Okay. Next we move to the Caribbean literature. Now, Caribbean literature, I'm sure, so when I was preparing, मेरे लिए बहुत helpful था कि मैं location को अपने दिमाग में picture कर पाऊँ, क्योंकि उससे मुझे थोड़ा ऐसा idea रहता है कि अच्छा हाँ, वहाँ अगर ये कैरिबियन आइलैंड्स की बात हो रही है तो ये किस जगह पर है जोग्राफिकली, तो क्या टाइप का कल्चर हो सकता है. अगेन नाउ वी नो कि जो आइलैंड्स होते हैं इन जनरल, दे हैव अ ट्राइब ऑफ देयर ओन, दे हैव अ कल्चर ऑफ देयर ओन विच इज देयर इंडिजिनस. फॉर एग्जाम्पल वी हैव इन इंडिया अंडमान निकोबार. तो कैरिबियन आइलैंड्स वाज आल्सो दिस कैरिबियन सी के आसपास के आइलैंड्स, एंड दे हैड देयर कल्चर ऑफ देयर ओन, राइट. सो दे वर रिलेटेड टू अफ्रो अमेरिकन कनेक्शंस थे उनके, यूरोपियन प्लांटेशंस का कल्चर वहाँ पे था. सो ये जो सारे आइलैंड्स थे उनकी टेरिटरीज से जो लिटरेचर आया था, दिस वाज कैरिबियन लिटरेचर. अगेन नाउ दैट वी टॉक ऑफ स्लेवरी, वी टॉक अबाउट सबऑर्डिनेट का एक क्लैश का वो आ गया, एंड माइग्रेशन एंड एवरीथिंग. सो दिस इज द सेंट्रल थीम ऑफ कैरिबियन लिटरेचर. और क्योंकि वो स्लेव्स बना लिए थे तो द स्लेव्स यूज्ड टू माइग्रेट, उनको वो लोग चीप लेबर के लिए लेकर जाते थे. तो that migration also became a theme of this literature. Again, you are well aware कि when migration happens, we also correlate this with diaspora to say. So then the theme of diaspora came in, the theme of slavery was there, the theme of colonization was there, that clash of whites being the superior and these people being the slaves or the people who used to do cheap labor for them. तो वो clash भी काफी often you can trace. कैरिबियन आइलैंड्स के लिटरेचर में, आई डोंट नो इफ आई शुड से इट अगेन, बट वाइट सरगासो सी, प्लीज मेक अ स्टार नोट ऑफ दिस, इट विल बी आस्क्ड. आई डोंट नो इफ एनी पेपर दैट आई हैव सीन इन द पास्ट 4-5 years ये नहीं पूछा. It will be either in some of the options, it will be a question. It's a favorite question. 1966 of Jean Rice. It's a beautiful story, but again a very very important work. Do not miss. This George Leminka in the Castle of My Skin is also very important. I think its character's name was asked or something, but White Sargasso Sea तो ये हर बार पूछते हैं. So just read the main characters. उसकी कुछ सेटिंग्स चेंज होती है तो वो, एंड आई थिंक द टाइमलाइन ऑफ दिस वुड डू फॉर यू. जनरल समरी यू शुड नो, लाइक द बेसिक आइडिया ऑफ व्हाट द वर्क टॉक्स अबाउट, बिकॉज इट्स क्वाइट अ पॉपुलर वर्क ऑल्सो. Also I'm sure you must be aware of the writer Jamaica Kincaid, because very very popular. Unka Annie John is also one of the very popular works when you read them as a writer. Then Earl Lovelace is very important. Unka The Dragon Can't Dance is, I think, was asked in MP Set last year if I'm not wrong, or any of the papers that I've seen उसमें पूछा था Earl Lovelace को. So वो भी एक Caribbean Islands के point of view से, from that kind of literature, is very important. But read, even if you miss out on other writers, please do not miss on White Sargasso Sea. It's essentially very very important from Net's point of view. All right. If there's any doubt, or if I'm going a little too fast, you can let me know in the middle also. Okay. Then we move to Indian subcontinent's culture. Now, Indian subcontinent's culture is one of the areas while when you read this post-colonial literature that will consume a little more time for you, but devote enough time for this, क्योंकि it's very important, क्योंकि बहुत questions आने लग गए somehow आजकल इंडियन लिटरेचर से। एंड दूसरी बात ये कि इट्स वेरी वाइड, इट्स नॉट जस्ट कि हम इंडिया का कल्चर पढ़ रहे हैं, बट वी ऑल्सो रीड पाकिस्तानी में बापसी सिद्धवा को हम पढ़ने लग गए हैं, एंड श्रीलंकन राइटर्स हैव एमर्ज्ड, द वन हु गॉट अ नोबेल रिसेंटली, no, not Nobel, Booker recently, sorry. So those kind of works became very, very important, and now they have emerged as very essential works. Secondly, if you have noticed the papers past 2018, वहाँ पे ना पेपर पैटर्न ऐसा कर दिया कि नाउ दे आर नॉट इंटरेस्टेड नोइंग कि चौसर के बारे में किसको पता है, दे माइट आस्क, बट दे आर मोर ऑन कि अभी इंडियन राइटर्स के बारे में किसको पता है। दे आर ऑल्सो नॉट वेरी मच इंटरेस्टेड इन राजा राव और वो, बट दे माइट आस्क यू बापसी सिद्धवा, दे माइट आस्क यू अरुंधति रॉय और खुशवंत सिंह एंड दीज राइटर्स। सो the Indian subcontinent's culture has also, of course, changed and evolved, and so the literature has also evolved by this time. Now, यहाँ पर we are well aware of the themes कि partition हो गया है, तो हमारे लिए वो इंडिया पाकिस्तान, इंडिया बांग्लादेश वाला struggle we are aware, एक resistance थी हम लोगों में कि नहीं, हम लोग जैसे जब क्विट इंडिया मूवमेंट आ गया था तो हमें एक रेजिस्टेंस हो गई थी कि नहीं, वी वोंट एक्सेप्ट द ब्रिटिश वेज और वेस्टर्न वेज ऑफ लाइफ, तो एक वो चीज थी। बट वंस द एम्पायर वेंट बैक, वी अगेन हैड दैट स्ट्रगल, नाउ व्हाट टू डू विद व्हाटएवर वी हैव। देन द काइंड ऑफ एजुकेशनल चेंजेस दैट केम अलोंग विद द ब्रिटिश एम्पायर्स प्रेजेंस इन इंडिया, वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट था। And you should know कि India back then, when British Empire were here, had two types of people. The one who was like a little elite class and well educated and well versed, and another was the lower class that we know of, the peasants and those struggle stories that we know of. So this elite class transcribed to English even when the Britishers were there, and post they left, and they kind of encouraged this British culture, right? For example, the Tagores, they encouraged this kind of culture, and they encouraged the beauty of English literature as a language and as a discipline. So it grew popular in a popularity point of view also. Now कांथापुरा 1938 राजा राव का बहुत पुराना वर्क है, बट वेरी ऑफन आज, लाइक वेरी ऑफन, क्योंकि उसमें जो वो डाइटी है, आई थिंक कंचम्मा इज द नेम इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, सो उनके बारे में क्वेश्चंस पूछते हैं ऑफ, क्योंकि इस पे ऑलरेडी एक अंडरलाइन स्ट्रगल है ऑफ फ्रीडम, और फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल को लेके एक स्टोरी लाइन चलती है, तो वो काफी बार पूछते हैं। देन वी हैव गॉड ऑफ स्मॉल थिंग्स, अरुंधति इज like very important writer. Inka Ministry of Utmost Happiness is also an essential work, but from a Net's point of view, God of Small Things is the work that they usually ask. Train to Pakistan is very important. They often ask characters के बारे में, तो that is important. Gitanjali is there. We know R.K. Narayan's Malgudi Days. I think अभी जून वाले एग्जाम, दिसंबर वाले एग्जाम में शायद they asked for some kind of, आई थिंक इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, मालगुडी डेज और उनका क्रोनोलॉजी का कुछ पूछा था क्वेश्चन, वो भी है। यू नो झुम्पा लहरी एज अ राइटर, ही अगेन वो डायस्पोरा राइटर्स के उसमें भी आते हैं, बट उनका नेमसेक, वेयर अबाउट्स, इंटरप्रेटर ऑफ द मालदीव्स, वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क। यू नो कमला दास, आई एम श्योर पोएट्री में आप लोगों ने पढ़ा है कमला दास को मोर एंड ऑफन, तो वो भी शी इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट राइटर। यू नो विक्रम सेठ और सूटेबल बॉय, वो भी मतलब दे कीप आस्किंग क्वेश्चंस इन एंड अराउंड दैट। अमिताभ घोष का शैडो लाइन्स इज प्रीटी इंपॉर्टेंट, उसको तो पढ़ ही लेना, मतलब एटलीस्ट उसके कैरेक्टर्स, और वो अमिताभ घोष के एनीवे मुझे लगता है कि वर्क्स, टाइटल और ईयर, मेमोराइज इट बिकॉज दे कीप आस्किंग इन दी क्रोनोलॉजी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू। Then this Bapsi Sidhwa, Pakistani writer that I was talking about, the work was basically called Ice Candy. सो डायस्पोरा में भी पढ़ते हैं हम, बट इंडिया में जब वो पब्लिश हुआ था तो क्रैकलिंग इंडिया के नाम से या क्रैकिंग इंडिया के नाम से पब्लिश हुआ था वो। द टाइटल्स बोथ इन बोथ कंट्रीज आर डिफरेंट, तो वो उसको लेके क्लैरिटी रखना। सो दीज आर लाइक Indian subcontinent's literature, and these are the important writers. Never to miss Raja Rao, Arundhati, Khushwant Singh, Bapsi Sidhwa. They keep asking Amitav Ghosh, Kamla Das, R.K. Narayan, Malgudi Days, very very important. So these 7-8 writers तो नहीं miss कर रहे हैं 100%. You can also read Kiran Desai, Anita Desai. Inheritance of Loss is very often asked nowadays. These are the works that you should read more often so that you have an idea of the literature. These works also qualify in some other subcategory, but when you read Indian subcontinent's culture as a whole, you should read all these works as well. Then we have diaspora literature as well. So now you know what diaspora means. Okay, so it's just for a general understanding that diaspora is this population that has moved from their homeland to a separate geographic location. Now, when a person is moving from one country to another, आप मान के चलते हो कि एक तो उसको अपने कंट्री से थोड़ा वो अप्रूव होके किसी दूसरी कंट्री में जाके सेटल हो गया. ओके, देन दे हैव लैंग्वेज का इशू हो सकता है बिकॉज इफ समबडी इज मूविंग फ्रॉम इंडिया टू से अमेरिका, सो देयर इज it's English, but it's a different English, right? Or UK for that matter. Then color, because we are the people of color. So when you move to a foreign nation, especially a white nation to say, तो वहाँ पे वो difference of color is very important. वो theme is very important. Then once you move from this country where your entire family is there and then you move to a separate country, तो वहाँ पे एक sense of alienation होता है because you take a certain amount of time to adjust into that particular culture and वो सब. Then cultural displacement तो है ही क्योंकि इंडिया का culture different है, अमेरिका UK इनके cultures बहुत different है. Nostalgia, the issues that is related to you mixing with the new country's culture and giving up on your home country's culture. So एक clash of वो तो यहाँ भी होगा. And then there's this quest of identity wherein you kind of figure out who you are. Are you an Indian citizen with an Indian identity, or you are an American citizen with an Indian identity, or you are an American citizen now with an American identity? So all of these themes or all of these issues to say form the basis of diaspora literature. Why is it important to identify the themes is because उससे एक बहुत रफ आइडिया लगता है अपने को स्टोरी का. ठीक है, दूसरी बात ये होती है कि द की टू नेट क्वेश्चन स्टेटमेंट वाइज क्वेश्चंस समटाइम्स इज एलिमिनेशन. सो if you have 4-5 statements and choose the right A, B, E, A, B, C, A, B, D, whatever, so eliminate करने के लिए you should have a basic idea of themes. तो थीम से यू कैन गेस कि नहीं यार दिस कुड बी सम डायस्पोरा और दिस कुड बी सम अदर काइंड ऑफ वो. सो थीम्स आइडेंटिफाई करना वर्क्स में हेल्प्स, एटलीस्ट इट हेल्प्ड मी टू एलिमिनेट द ऑप्शंस फ्रॉम द स्टेटमेंट क्वेश्चंस बिकॉज स्टेटमेंट वाले क्वेश्चंस अब मोर एंड ऑफन आस्क्ड है यूजीसी नेट में. Okay, this interpreter of the maladies that I was talking about, Jhumpa Lahiri, absolutely amazing work and very important also along with Namesake and Whereabouts. White Teeth by Z.D. Smith, काफी पूछने लगे हैं 2000. It's a very early work, like not a very old work, so that's why it's often asked. Americana is a 2013 work. If you have read this work, you already know the beauty of it. It is not just a very fine written diaspora literature, but also very essentialist feminist work. It is very beautiful, and Adichie is anyway you know the kind of writer. So a very important and a very fine work. Other than that, as I've already said, not to miss Kiran Desai, very important. The Inheritance of Loss is often asked nowadays. उसकी themes और वो सब जैसे जो characters है जिम बाबा आई थिंक ये इसी वर्क्स के, हाँ तो ये सब बहुत पूछने लगे हैं. यू मस्ट हैव ऑल्सो रेड भारती मुखर्जी, उनका एक वर्क है जैस्मीन. वो उसमें if I'm not wrong with the story, but वो कुछ ऐसा वर्क है कि it talks about कि this particular girl, she moves from place to place and she keeps changing names. She goes from Jazz to Jasmine to some other names and all. So with every kind of place that she moves, she gets a new identity with a new name and everything. So उसके struggle को trace किया है भारती मुखर्जी के इस work Jasmine में. It's very important and it's a very beautiful written work also. और I think 2018 या 19 में इसका नाम पूछा था कि व्हाट नेम डज शी टेक अप व्हेन शी मूव्स टू दिस पर्टिकुलर लोकेशन. तो इसमें शी टेक्स अ 4-5 नेम्स. तो वो नाम याद रख लेना कि जब जैस्मीन उसका नाम कब होता है व्हेन शी मैरीज ऑफ, देन शी गोज टू अमेरिका, देन शी टेक्स अप अनदर नेम, देन शी मूव्स टू अनदर कंट्री, अनदर प्लेस, देन शी टेक्स अप अनदर नेम. सो ऐसे शी टेक्स अप आई थिंक 4-5 नेम्स इन द एंटायर स्टोरी. और एक बार ये नाम पूछ लिया था कि at this location what was the name of the protagonist. So उसके हिसाब से you should know the names वाली चीज. Then Rohinton Mistry is a very important writer that we read. उनका Fine Balance, I think it must have been in your MA or anything. वो भी is very important work when we talk about diaspora as such. Okay, I'll take up if yeah. Is there any doubt up till now? Because I'll like take a minute's break and then move ahead with, because only 2 of the elements are left. So is there any doubt that you have right now? Anybody? Okay, I am assuming it's none. Then I'll move ahead. Okay. Right. So now we have completed up till diaspora. Then there is something called subaltern studies. When we talk about post-colonial literature के point of view से, तो उसमें अब हम लोग subaltern studies भी पढ़ने लग गए. Because post-colonial में अब हम लोग उस चीज़ से आगे बढ़ गए कि एक तो struggle था किसी एक पर्टिकुलर पॉपुलेशन का टुवर्ड्स समबडी हु वाज इन पावर, जैसे इंडियंस का स्ट्रगल था टुवर्ड्स द ब्रिटिश एम्पायर और द क्राउन कि हमें अपनी इंपॉर्टेंस या हमें अपनी इंडिपेंडेंस चाहिए. बट व्हेन यू एनालाइज द पोस्ट कॉलोनियल लिटरेचर फ्रॉम अ वेरी ऐसे क्रिटिकल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, यू ऑल्सो रियलाइज कि जो सुबाल्टर्न्स थे दे वर द मोस्ट inflicted ones of this entire struggle, the ones who actually bore the brunt of the entire struggle. Then you know कि वो लोग थे जो बहुत major participants भी थे in the entire struggle. So that is how when you start reading post-colonial literature, you read subaltern studies also. ठीक है. और subaltern studies anyway net के point of view से अब important हो गया है क्योंकि वो लोग पूछने लगे, especially गायत्री स्पिवाक का work तो more and often I'm sure you all of you are aware, it's very often asked in net also. Okay. So now subaltern is not just a term that is limited to a particular कि ये लोग subalterns है. It's basically this umbrella term that is used or designated to people who are below the social ranking in a social or political or economic or any other hierarchical point of view. जैसे we were subalterns pre-colonial era में for the British Empire. It is also the subaltern term also means to somebody who is marginalized or oppressed. So again, you know where this term is coming from. Okay. But when this subaltern studies came, so it's very important क्योंकि it's nowadays it's not enough that you know the term subaltern because वो I think सबको पता होगा. But यहाँ पे nowadays you should know the correlationship also of where this term is coming from. So I'm sure कि cultural studies का जो एक unit है net में, उसमें you read E.P. Thompson को और E.P. Thompson wherein they talk about the history from below वाला concept जो है कि जो भी culture आएगा या जो भी literature अब आएगा, it will focus not on who is at the top of the hierarchy but the people who are at the lower rank of hierarchy. तो वो लोग उस पे focus करते हैं. There is where subaltern studies also takes some kind of cue from now that 1960s का movement कि now we will talk about the history from below. Now we'll talk about the culture which is not elite but which is common man or subaltern culture. Okay. Raymond Williams, E.P. Thompson, very important people of this particular so-called movement of history from below. Cultural studies में भी ये question more and often asked है. But जब हम subaltern studies की बात करते हैं from like literature studies point of view, there are 2-3 people जिनका नाम you should just remember without wo, and whenever somebody says subaltern ये 3 नाम तो should just click very quickly to you. A is Ranjit Guha. Ranjit Guha is the pioneer of subaltern studies. He, along with Eric Stokes, another American cultural writer, they were the one who developed this concept and developed this subaltern studies when they were there in University of Sussex. And वहाँ पे उन लोगों ने इस पूरी studies को as a concept develop किया कि it's enough that we have a lot of history, a lot of literature from kings and queens and the crown, and we have this entire British literature filled with kings and Shakespeare के सारे dramas हैं हमारे पास में, सब कुछ है. But where is this subaltern studies? When subaltern studies started coming, and when Ranjit Guha and other cultural writers started developing this as a concept and as a discipline, this later on gave birth to a lot of other subaltern literature. For example, Dalit literature or disability studies is one of the offshoots of subaltern studies. So these canons emerged from the umbrella of subaltern studies. Okay, now when you're talking about subaltern, which means that there is this one hierarchy में upper class and the lower class, and now जो lower class और जो ruling classes हैं उसके जो भी binary relationship है, it can be of interdependence, it can be of the kind of clash that they have, the interplay of dominance और उनकी subordinates होना, ये सब चीजों को लेके ये थीम्स है. ठीक है. द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क नेवर टू मिसेस कैन द सुबाल्टर्न स्पीक बाय गायत्री सी Spivak. This is like a long essay. If you get time to read this essay, I don't think it's going to take you more than 30 minutes, but it's a beautiful essay. You should read it. And one thing that I suggest, I understand कि अब time कम है, so you can't read every work, so you read through summaries and all. But if I'm not wrong, not long ago the question was asked in net ki what is the conclusion Spivak draws from Can the Subaltern Speak? So, and 4 statements were given. So until you have read the work or at least summary from a very good place, you would not know the answer. And at the end, if I'm not wrong, she concludes that, no, the subaltern cannot speak. And she gives the reasoning for that and so forth. So this kind of concept-based questions are asked from these works. Subaltern studies is like more and often asked now. और क्योंकि subaltern इसलिए भी important हो जाता है because cultural studies में when you read the concept of hybridity, होमी के बाबा को और mimicry, ambivalence, these all 3 very important concepts given by Homi ke Baba. So ये सब उनमें correlate होते रहते हैं. So with subaltern studies and literature, the best thing is that you keep correlating. कि अच्छा subaltern है तो ठीक है, we also know the history from below, Eric Thompson और Raymond Williams का. Raymond Williams the same person जो आपकी cultural studies वाली unit में भी आएगा. So this correlation will help you remember the things, even if it is on the thread of correlation, it will make the things easier for you. So Can the Subaltern Speak? Again, to go back to this, do not miss this work. Ranjit Guha ka Subaltern Studies, Writings on South Asian History and Society, very, very important. Dipesh Chakraborty ka Provincializing Europe, less asked, but you should remember ki haan, ye bhi ek bahut important writer hai. Another writer that we now see sometimes is Partha Chatterjee. उनको काफी पूछने लगे हैं अभी subaltern studies के उस पे, but still Ranjit Guha and Spivak are the pioneer writers. So, but Partha Chatterjee is also the name that you should remember when you read subaltern studies. I have missed writing the name, but Partha Chatterjee is the name you should remember for subaltern. Right. Now we have magic realism. So, when I talk about magic realism, what is that one thing that everybody knows about magic realism? One thing that is common to anybody who talks of magic realism. Anybody? Yeah, Salman Rushdie, right. Fair. So Salman Rushdie is that one name कि magic realism बोला और सबसे पहले Midnight Children का नाम दिमाग में आ जाता है. And this is a great thing कि you know कि magic realism में एक हर concept का, हर theory का एक pioneer writer तो होगा ही होगा, and that is Salman Rushdie. However, net people are very smart. What they have done is magic realism में Midnight's Children अब वो पूछते हैं and कभी कभी नहीं पूछते हैं. Now they've started asking Garcia Marcus को. I'm sure you have read Garcia Marcus, and now they have started asking 100 Years of Solitude very often under the umbrella of magic realism, because it also has this similar themes and everything. So once you read magic realism को, please do not restrict yourself to just reading Midnight's Children. Please read Midnight's Children, वो तो है ही essentially important work. और actually क्या है Midnight's Children के साथ में, because it's a very bulky work. Okay, it's not a very small read, that I'm aware, and it moves so frequently in several time zones, like it's moving from this time to the post-colonial time and this and that. And it has like a series of characters, like some 24 plus characters are there. फिर भी जो most important है जैसे शिवा और ये, तो उन characters की please make a list of Midnight's Children's characters, and एक दिन में एक बार तो just have a look at it so that it stays somewhere in the back of your mind, because Midnight's Children is a very important work, cannot be overlooked while you prepare magic realism. Then 100 Years of Solitude 1967 का Gabriel Marcus का, I'm sure most of you have read her or anything, but again very essential work. अब वो लोग Midnight Children से हटके थोड़ा सा 100 Years of Solitude भी पूछने लगे हैं कभी कभी. But magic realism, I'm sure most of you are aware, it is this style of writing wherein कुछ तो रियल इवेंट हो रहा है और उसको फैंटेसी के साथ मिक्स करके मैजिक रियलिज्म, एज द नेम इज ऑफ कोर्स सजेस्टिव टू इट. देन इस पे पोस्ट कॉलोनियल कॉन्टेक्स्ट पे उन लोगों ने क्या किया, जो भी कॉम्प्लेक्स स्ट्रगल उस टाइम के चल रहे थे रियल लाइफ में, उसको ब्लेंड कर दिया ऐसे फैंटेसी मैजिक इन सब के साथ में. देन अगेन द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ होमी के बाबा, विच इज मिमिक्री, हाइब्रिडिटी, एम्बिवेलेंस, ये सब जो है मैजिक रियलिज्म की स्टोरीज में यू कैन ट्रेस. देन देयर इज अ स्टोरी टेलिंग का कन्वेंशन, बहुत हाइटेंड मेटाफर्स यूज होते हैं, जैसे इन मिडनाइट्स चिल्ड्रन आई एम श्योर यू रेड, तो उसपे भी द काइंड ऑफ स्टोरी वीविंग दैट इज देयर, द काइंड ऑफ डिटेलिंग दैट इज देयर, that is very important. Ki what are those powers of the students, of the children who are born at that particular time in Midnight Children. Some of them can imagine the power of smell and this and that. So वो real life में नहीं है, but उन लोगों ने उसी events को they have blended with fantasy and created this entire genre of magic realism. But Midnight Children, very important. Please go through the story or watch any YouTube video that is available. I think plenty of them are there, so that you just have a rough idea of the story moving in your head कि कैसे कैसे story आगे जा रही है. Because now they don't ask the start and end of the stories. They'll pick some event from the middle of the story and draft a question on that. So it's better that you know the entire story as in a flow to your understanding. Okay. Now we have the most important writers. I can also send you the list of works that I went through. Along with this PPT, I'll drop that also in the WhatsApp. But these are the important writers जिनके सारे works को write in chronology. Like, do not miss these writers, like whatsoever. Chinua Achebe का Things Fall Apart, please do not miss. Jean Rice का जैसे we have Void, Sargasso, do not miss it. Salman Rushdie's. Now Salman Rushdie के Midnight Children के अलावा वो Moore's Last Sigh भी पूछने लगे हैं, तो एक बार उसको भी देख लेना. Because Salman Rushdie, I understand that Midnight Children ही उनका एक ऐसा वर्क है जो everybody knows, but Moore's Last Sigh is also an equally important work, and they keep asking that also. Amitav Ghosh, very important writer, both fiction and non-fiction wise. Shadow Lines बहुत important है. Calcutta Chromosome important है. जो trilogy है ये Sea of Poppies, River of Smoke वाला, I'm forgetting the third name, but the जो 3 books है trilogy वाली, very important. फिर जो अमिताभ घोष के travelogues हैं वो भी important है, जो non-fictional writing में जाते हैं, जो बर्मा वाले वो travelogues है, please उनको भी एक बार देखना. JM Coetzee का Disgrace, very important work. They keep asking उसके around. Arundhati Roy's God of Small Things ही पूछ रहे. They have still not moved on from God of Small Things, and they've not asked Ministry of Utmost Happiness or her other works. So Arundhati Roy is there. V.S. Naipaul, very important, because we read him in also Diaspora and otherwise. एक और चीज with V.S. Naipaul is very important कि आई थिंक 2018 में इन लोगों ने कंफ्यूजिंग क्वेश्चन दिया था कि इनका एक वर्क है अ बेंड इन द रिवर एंड देयर इज अनदर वर्क आई थिंक बाय आर के नारायण इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग द बेंड इन द गंगेस करके भी एक वर्क है. तो बेंड इन द रिवर इज ऑफ वीएस नाइपॉल एंड दैट अनदर वर्क इज इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग ऑफ आर के नारायण. तो उसको लेके सो बेंड इन द रिवर इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क ऑफ वीएस नाइपॉल, वेरी ऑफन आस्क्ड. माइकल ओंदाजी का English Patient is a very important work. Kiran Desai, Inheritance of Loss, please read it. It's more and often asked now. Then Bapsi Sidhwa ka Ice Candy, I've said. Toni Morrison, Beloved, I think हमारे graduation के course में था, so I think वो पढ़ा होगा. Adichie's Americana is very important. Anita Desai, again, very very important. Kiran Desai, Anita Desai, वो दोनों बहुत important writers हैं. Ben Okri is a very important African writer. There's Wal Soyinka is there. Jhumpa Lahiri, namesake, very important. Whereabouts, and the most important is Interpreter of the Maladies. 1999 का work है. Jhumpa Lahiri का Interpreter of the Maladies is often asked उसपे. So वो work please do not miss. In addition to this, Edward Said का Orientalism is very very important. But again वो ऐसा work है, वो मैंने इसलिए लिखा इसलिए because everybody knows that work. So वो एक important work है. उनके definitions, the key concepts that he has picked up from that, what does he mean by Orientalism वाला concept, it's often asked in UGC NET. So I think this is it. Yeah, if there are any questions I would entertain that. I have finished quite in time. Yeah, so I have a lot of time for questions.
What's the difference between post-colonial literature and Commonwealth literature?
Okay, so post-colonial literature is this umbrella term. Usko post-colonial could be of America, Africa, it could be post-colonial literature of India, subcontinent, ऐसे. Commonwealth is another term जिसमें वो सब countries को include कर रहे हैं. जैसे Commonwealth is this term which is known as which is basically for British colonies. Commonwealth is those 54 colonies, now countries, जिनको Britishers ने control किया हुआ था, right? So उन सब का जो एक clubbed literature होता है वो Commonwealth literature है. But this Commonwealth literature can also mean their own literatures. They might not have the theme of post-colonialism in them. They might have their own kind of literature as well. For example, Indian literature में हमारे पास में इंडियन पोस्ट कॉलोनियल लिटरेचर भी है और एक इंडियन लिटरेचर भी है. So that way, Commonwealth literature is a little different from post-colonial literature. Post-colonial literature is that big umbrella term that we use, and then we narrow it down to Commonwealth or the other kind of literatures. I hope that answers. Yes.
Ma'am, is V.S. Naipaul considered more under Commonwealth literature or diaspora? Because I've read about him more in the diasporic context. And if so, are there any more writers as such as him which are considered under both of the umbrellas?
Yeah, so V.S. Naipaul is one of those writers who is, you're correct, he's majorly studied under diaspora. However, V.S. Naipaul के कुछ वर्क्स ऐसे हैं जो पोस्ट कॉलोनियल की हिंट्स देते हैं. जैसे जो इनका हाउस ऑफ मिस्टर बिस्वासी है, इट इज दैट वर्क जिसमें ही ट्रेसेस द स्टोरी ऑफ द पर्सन हु डायस्पोरा के टर्म्स में कि ही हैज माइग्रेटेड एंड दिस एंड दैट, एंड उसकी जो अंडरलाइन थीम है वो उनके कॉलोनियलिज्म, पोस्ट कॉलोनियल एरा ऐसे उनको सजेस्ट करती है. सो V.S. Naipaul एंड फॉर दैट मैटर यू हैव हनीफ कुरैशी, ये ऐसे राइटर्स हैं जिनकी दोनों उसमें है. इवन इफ दे आर डायस्पोरिक राइटर्स, दे हैव दिस अंडरलाइन थीम्स ऑफ कॉलोनियल स्ट्रगल्स और the alienation that comes from the different kind of cultures or pre and post colonial culture clash ऐसा. So you can note V.S. Naipaul in this category. There's Hanif Qureshi, very important writer. Bharati Mukherjee, she's also read in diaspora, unka Jasmine, the work that I was talking about. So these are a few writers that are important in both the categories. But you need not worry because NET does not ask you category. of these writers, like which to club them into. They will ask you more related to the works. So it's better कि वी एस नाइपोल को एज अ होल ही पढ़ लो, क्योंकि वी एस नाइपोल तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट राइटर है एंड ही इज वेरी पॉपुलर ऑल्सो. ही पास्ड अवे क्वाइट रिसेंटली. सो again a very important writer from literature's point of view. I hope that answers your query.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Is there any other doubt I can take up?
If you have any doubt, you can type it in the chat box as well.
Yeah, I will take. Right. I am sorry, it was my mistake. It is Manohar Malgaonkar. Right. Very. It's not R.K. Narayan. जो मैं वो वर्क कह रही थी वी एस नायपॉल का बेंड इन द रिवर एंड बेंड इन द गंगेस, वो ये वर्क का वो है. इस पे उन्होंने क्वेश्चन पूछा था बिकॉज इट्स अ वेरी सिमिलर साउंडिंग वर्क. वी एस नायपॉल का बेंड इन द रिवर है, तो उस पे शायद 2019 में ऐसा कभी एक क्वेश्चन आया था कि हु रोट विच वर्क वाला, वो मैच द फॉलोइंग था. सो फॉर दैट यू नीड टू एक लिस्ट वो भी बना सकते हो जिसमें देर आर कॉमन टाइटल्स, जैसे बेंड इन द रिवर, बेंड इन द गंगेस. ऐसे काफी वर्क्स नहीं है, 5-6 ही होंगे, बट टू अवॉइड एनी काइंड ऑफ कंफ्यूजन विच द मैच द फॉलोइंग, क्योंकि पास्ट 2-3 साइकिल से नेट में मैच द फॉलोइंग के क्वेश्चंस बहुत आने लगे कि देयर इज लाइक दिस सीरीज ऑफ राइटर्स on part A and part B में their works or whatever statements or themes or the kind of literature they belong to. So वो is often asked. So that is also something that you can do. Not more than I think 5 or 6 works, not very much. So you can take that also.
I guess there are no more doubts. So now I would like to invite Srijan for a vote of thanks.
Okay, now Okay, so now that our fourth session with JRF has come to an end, I would like to present my vote of thanks to Mansi ma'am for such a detailed class, and thanks a lot for pointing us out the important details and important questions which would be so much helpful for us students. I would also like to thank our English department for organizing this classes during the month of June, which is so close to our NetJRF exams. I would also like to thank all the participants and all to the people who have contributed in these classes. And ma'am, I hope that we would get to see you more in the future. And for all the participants who have tuned in today, continue with us in these classes, and as there are more classes which will be unveiled in the future. Thank you everyone. Have a nice day. Stay hydrated. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.
Thank you.